This is NDTV, and you're watching NDTV Profit.
Hello and welcome to this very special episode of Boss's Day Out. We bring you this show from a nice nippy winter morning here in Bangalore. As the debate around energy consumption and conservation hots up, our guest today is someone who heads Conzerv, the company that operates in that very segment, a rare breed, a rare profession for a woman, but Hema Hattangady, the Vice Chairman and Managing Director of Conzerv, has proved her mettle. Hi Hema, Supriya from NDTV. That of course is Hema Hattangady, the woman who heads Conzerv and is the force behind this energy consumption, energy conservation company. We'll of course going to talk more about that boring stuff, if I may say, in just a while. But meet her family first.
Hi. This is Raghav.
Hi.
Ananya, this is Ashok.
Hi. Supriya from NDTV. How are you doing and what are you having? Lots of food, is it?
She's having great food for breakfast. Yeah, and we're all sort of a little late today, so we're going to have a very high-powered, high-nutrition breakfast very quickly and dash off to work.
But you're from IIM Calcutta.
That's right.
And this is not your core expertise. This is not what, you always wanted to do.
No, actually I've sort of blundered into this because it's my husband's family which had set up the business.
That's right.
And I had always had stars in my eyes about having a career in advertising and marketing, which I did for a while. And then when I got into the family business, I found, hey, this is not so bad at all. And when you get to run a business, it sort of just makes it also attractive.
But how easy or difficult is it to be your own boss? I mean, you the one being blamed for everything. You calling all the shots, all right. But, so many brick paths come with those calling the shots business.
Fortunately, the bouquets have been more than the brick paths.
Yeah.
So far it's been, I won't say it's been roses all the way, but you do have to take accountability for everything you do. The buck does stop with you. And but when it does happen, I guess you just accept whatever has gone wrong with the humility. And fortunately, I haven't had too many of those instances yet. So,
and especially at a time when your business is doing so well, and especially at a time when this sector, when this industry, so to say, is picking up in a way. I'm tempted to ask you here. Your husband here is the technocrat. He's the technical force behind the company.
Yeah.
You the brain behind the marketing. So it's a fine balance. How was it attuned?
It's like this, my chairman and our chief investor once said that the day you guys decide to switch jobs, it's going to be a disaster because I would never be able to design anything. And he's had his hand at managing this company and he didn't like it. Mm-hmm. So I think it's just that we stay out of each other's way and at the same time our skills are very complementary. And when I'm talking to students, I tell them in my business, R&D and marketing are truly married to each other. It's not an academic sort of exercise.
I know.
Do you know that it's my mother's birthday today?
No, actually I did not. Wow, that's wonderful. Happy birthday to you. Many, many happy returns of the day. So there it is. The Vice Chairman and Managing Director also does not share the day with us. She also shares her birthday today on air.
Bye, sweetie. Off you go.
A woman wears too many hats, and this one's probably the toughest, being a mother. And I think the worst part of the day probably for you is when they're leaving and Ananya is crying on her way down because she thinks you're going to be home and she's off to
actually that's what it is today. Otherwise she's a very cheerful child.
There's so much of greenery around us here. A little surprised you're in the energy business. But this you say is your calling in life. Plants?
It's a passion with me. We moved to this flat a few years ago and I suddenly discovered I had no grass under my feet. What do you do with a concrete terrace? You put pots. So I figured that this terrace can take the weight of about 250 pots, and that's what I have here.
250 pots around me?
Yes.
One more and we crash. It's almost 8:45, time to get to work.
Yes, in fact, we're running late. So let's make a dash for Bangalore's heavy roads.
Right, we get you the taste of Bangalore's infamous traffic. Promise you we will. That's one thing I've noticed about Hema in my being with her for the last 2 hours. Her staff adores her. We're going to find more of that at work. We're of course driving to work with Hema, but let me just ask you this question here. You're not professionally trained as an engineer, so to say, but you're in a very technical business. How easy was it to really pick up the nuances of the business? And especially when you make a sales pitch, considering your business has grown from 1 crore to about 100 crore now under your guidance and your leadership, I'm sure the sales pitch are made in the right direction and you get a lot of business out of them.
How did I pick up the nuances? I'm very fortunate because I have a very patient and very instructional husband who bought me the first year engineering textbook, BL Teraja, and taught me what kilowatt and kV and power factor stands for. He also showed me how to demonstrate products to engineers, and many of the guys that I met in the customer organizations were very, very technical. It wasn't easy. Even today I tell my salespeople stories of how I have dashed out of a textile mill in tears because I couldn't convince the managing director that he should buy my product. I'm talking about 12-15 years ago. It was initially a little hard because none of it made sense to me, and I'm not a science graduate. Later on I discovered that actually I had an advantage in being non-technical because I could very quickly see the customer's perspective.
That's right. Yeah.
And portray the benefits or the USPs in terms of non-technicalities. So it's